The Mediterranean Sea, gone, evaporated overnight. Where once sapphire depths glimmered, now a sun-baked abyss yawned. Boats lay stranded, transformed into macabre monuments to the vanished sea. Coastal cities, once vibrant hubs, stared out over a desolate wasteland. The air, thick with salt and the stench of decay, carried an eerie silence. The Mediterranean Sea, the cradle of civilization, was no more. The world woke to a nightmare. News reports crackled with disbelief and horror. The impossible had happened. The Mediterranean, a constant for millennia, had vanished. Scientists scrambled for explanations, governments for solutions, but one truth was undeniable. The world had changed forever. The Mediterranean, a symbol of history, culture, and life, was gone. In its place, a void. The Mediterranean Sea was more than just a body of water. It was a crossroads, a bridge between continents, cultures, and economies. For centuries, its azure waters had cradled the ships of empires, from the ancient Greeks to the Roman Republic, from the Ottoman Empire to the modern nations of Europe and North Africa. The Mediterranean was a conduit for trade. Spices from the east, silks from Asia, and gold from Africa all flowed through its ports. It was a crucible of ideas where philosophy, art, and science flourished. The very air seemed to whisper with the echoes of history, of empires risen and fallen, of cultures exchanged and blended. The Mediterranean's impact on the environment was equally profound. Its warm waters influenced weather patterns across Europe and North Africa, creating the temperate climates that allowed agriculture to thrive. Its currents carried nutrients that supported a rich diversity of marine life. Now this vital artery, this cradle of civilization, was gone. The consequences, both immediate and long-term, were staggering. The world held its breath, bracing itself for the impact. The immediate aftermath was catastrophic. Coastal ecosystems, reliant on the Mediterranean's ebb and flow, collapsed. Fish perished en masse, their once vibrant habitats transformed into barren wastelands. Birds that migrated across the sea perished by the thousands, their ancient roots now ending in a desolate abyss. Inland, the disaster unfolded with equal ferocity. The Mediterranean's moderating influence on climate vanished overnight. Regions accustomed to mild, wet winters were slammed by harsh, frigid temperatures. Conversely, areas used to dry, hot summers were inundated with torrential rainfall and unprecedented flooding. Crops failed, livestock perished, and forests withered under the onslaught of the changing climate. The delicate balance of nature, disrupted by the disappearance of the Mediterranean, spun wildly out of control. The environmental consequences were immediate and devastating, a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of all living things. The economic fallout was swift and brutal. Global trade, so reliant on the Mediterranean's shipping lanes, ground to a halt. Ports, once bustling with activity, stood empty, their cranes silent sentinels over a ghost town. Tourism, a cornerstone of many Mediterranean economies, evaporated overnight. The political ramifications were equally dire. Countries bordering the vanished sea, once linked by commerce and diplomacy, now faced each other across a chasm of economic uncertainty and ecological disaster. Tensions flared as nations grappled with dwindling resources and mass displacement of their populations. The disappearance of the Mediterranean had exposed the fragility of the globalized world, shattering the illusion of interconnectedness and ushering in an era of uncertainty and conflict. The world, once connected by the azure waters of the Mediterranean, was now fragmented, facing a future fraught with danger. Section 5. Thirst and famine. The most immediate threat was the spectre of thirst and famine. Millions relied on the Mediterranean, directly or indirectly, for their livelihoods. Fishing communities, now facing empty nets and barren seabeds, were thrown into chaos. Farmers, struggling to adapt to the drastically altered climate, saw their crops wither and die. The loss of the Mediterranean Sea disrupted the delicate balance of the water cycle. Rainfall patterns shifted dramatically, leaving some regions parched while others were inundated with floods. Aquifers, once replenished by rainfall, began to dwindle, threatening the water supply of millions. Food shortages quickly escalated into widespread famine. Humanitarian crises unfolded across the globe as nations struggled to cope with the influx of refugees fleeing the environmental devastation. The world watched in horror as the consequences of the Mediterranean's disappearance rippled outward, leaving a trail of suffering and despair in their wake. Section 6. A new world takes shape. Yet, even in the face of unimaginable catastrophe, humanity endured. The disappearance of the Mediterranean, while cataclysmic, also sparked a wave of innovation and adaptation, forcing humankind to confront the challenges of a radically altered planet. With the sea gone, vast tracts of land once submerged were revealed. This new landscape, while desolate and unforgiving, held the promise of resources and opportunities. Engineers, architects, and geologists came together to chart this uncharted territory, to find ways to make the uninhabitable habitable. The race was on to develop new technologies and strategies for survival. Water desalination plants were erected along the newly exposed seabed, transforming salt water into a precious lifeline for parched communities. Drought-resistant crops were developed, offering a glimmer of hope for food security in a world grappling with climate change. Political and logistical hurdles to make this ambitious dream a reality. Section 8. The human spirit, tested but not broken. The disappearance of the Mediterranean was a test of humanity's resilience, a crucible that pushed societies to the brink of collapse. Yet even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit endured. The same ingenuity that had allowed humans to build civilizations across the globe was now being channeled towards survival, adaptation, and rebuilding. From the ashes of disaster, a new world order began to emerge. Traditional alliances shifted as nations, once separated by the sea, now found themselves bound by shared challenges. Cooperation, born out of necessity, became the new paradigm as people from all walks of life came together to rebuild their shattered world. The disappearance of the Mediterranean had tested humanity in ways unimaginable, but it had also revealed the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to adapt, innovate, and persevere. Section 9. A new world, a new beginning. The Mediterranean Sea was gone. The world it left behind was scarred, reshaped, and forever changed. But amidst the ruins, the seeds of a new beginning were being sown. Humanity, forced to confront its own vulnerability, had also discovered a wellspring of resilience it never knew it possessed. The disappearance of the Mediterranean was a tragedy, a stark reminder of the awesome power of nature and the fragility of human civilization, but it was also a catalyst for change, forcing humanity to confront its past mistakes and forge a new path forward. In the end, the vanished sea served as a powerful reminder. The human story is not written in stone, but etched in the ever-shifting sands of time, and even in the face of unimaginable loss, there is always the potential for renewal, adaptation, and hope. As we've seen in this hypothetical scenario, the drying up of the Mediterranean Sea and the merging of Europe with Africa wouldn't just be a geographical shift. It would mark the beginning of a new era filled with challenges and opportunities. Our world is always changing, and while this idea may seem far from reality, it opens up new horizons for us to think about the future. How would life be if this actually happened? And how would these changes affect humanity and the environment? If you enjoyed this video and shared your thoughts on this scenario, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you can get more intriguing ideas and topics. See you in the next video where we continue to explore the unknown.